Yeah. Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, pacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah, yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, pacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah, yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in. As we get ready to rock and roll, we get ready to rumble here from the beautiful Chicago Street Course here this evening with the Wheel to Wheel Racing League for 40 laps of racing action here from Columbus Drive, we're right there. We're right on the streets of Chicago here this evening. As Matthew Wood says, me and Evan are ready. We won the 6 hours of the Glen yesterday by 2 laps. He did amazing. He says, wow, that's crazy, man. Congrats. 6 hours at the Glen. That's a long time, man. That's a long time. It's a lot of laps. It's a lot of time in behind the seat. Obviously, I don't know. Is it just a duo, or was it like trio or 4 people? Like, how many people were like on a team sort of deal? Because I'm assuming it's a team aspect, or was it one driver racing and one driver like one person being like the spotter? I don't know how that works, but nonetheless, congratulations. Good run, good stuff there, and it's going to be fun to see all these guys battling and trying to duke you out and see if they can try to beat you here this evening, as Matthew Wood will start in the pole position here this evening, as Matthew in the number 31 ride here this evening. I do believe that's the 31, the snap-on ride there, as he'll get ready to start from that pole position. To his outside is the 19 ride of Jordan Fisher. That's our front row here this evening, as you see all the city, the skyscrapers in the background, the beautiful Chicago, Illinois back there, and all these drivers ready to go to battle and duke it out here in Chi-Town, as Aiden Lucas will start in the 3rd position. It's Evan Stewart who will start in position number 4 on the speedway. Grant Applegate back there in 5th, and then we see the 00 of Michael Durham Jr. there in the 6th position. Then we see Ryan Haller there in position number 7. To his outside is the 8 ride of Trent Johns. And then we see the Monster Energy number, I do believe that is the 39 ride of Zach Glater. To his outside, the 51, that is Wyatt Mickelson, rounding out our top 10. Then we see Keegan Huey back there in the 11th position. Caleb Holloman there on the Dr. Pepper 97 ride. He's back there, as well as the 42 machine of Nick Jensen. Ethan Greek, the number 22 of Michael Ponder Jr. starting back there at the rear of the field, as it does look like we're going to have a few drivers that will start from pit road here this evening. Looks like Aiden Lucas, who was supposed to start in 3rd, he will now start from pit road. Same with Jason Bogart. Jaden Porter also going to be starting down pit side, and Zach Perry also potentially going to be starting down from pit road here this evening as well. So 18 drivers in total loaded into the sim. It'll be 14 cars taking the initial green flag here in Chi-Town, as all these drivers will be first onto the throttle as they take the green flag. Aiden Lucas and Bogart and all these other drivers will get the opportunity to be set loose from pit lane, and they'll start a little bit behind all these other drivers, but should still be able to make it interesting and see if they can try to avoid what could be carnage down here into corner number 1. That's always the big threat, and I feel like that's why we normally see a few drivers elect to start from pit road here and the start of these styles of road course races here, especially Chicago. We've seen it multiple times. Drivers select to take the pit road start instead of starting here with all these other drivers, knowing that one, either they could get ran over and end up with a bunch of damage and get tore up early on in the race, or potentially they could be the one to run over a bunch of drivers and ruin others people's races. So they try to come down pit road and start from pit side there and not put too much stress on themselves or the other drivers out there. So good veteran move. Very fun to see what these guys are going to be able to do and see how this is going to work out here this evening, as we'll get ready to set them loose. We'll get ready to go to green flag racing. The lights are off. The official iRacing pace truck, as we circle down here right through the main square here in Chicago. Man, look at this beautiful city. Right down there's Grant Park South parking entrance right there that they're going to roll right on by here and make that hard left-hand turn. And one more left-hand turn, and that's where we'll see that green flag fly here in Chicago. Pace truck will hurry up. It'll zoom off and take the hard right-hand turn back down pit side here, and that will unleash the field now to Matthew Wood, our pole sitter here this evening, as he'll get ready to see that green flag fly as we end all the anticipation with our feature presentation here from Chicago. As look out, here comes Applegate deep down into corner number 1. That's what we were worried about, and unfortunately for the 57, blew it in there too deep. Now has to try to get this thing backed up, has to try to roll out onto the speedway. You see Michael Ponder Jr., he's able to roll out there. He's now up into the 12th position. Aiden Lucas just getting started here. Here he comes rolling out onto the racetrack. Here comes Jason Bogart in that number 17. Jaden Porter rolls out there onto the racetrack as well in that Sim Racing Center Toyota. So those drivers that did start down on pit road here, now out onto the racetrack, except for Zach Perry. Perry did not load in there and did not get started here this evening. Is out in front after the craziness and almost getting taken out himself there. Matthew Wood, he leads this race, and he's looking to try to keep all these drivers back there at bay as Brian Underwood. What's good, Underwood? Underwood says, let's go, Haller. Cheering on Haller here this evening as Ryan up into position number 5 here early on, able to gain a couple spots. Obviously, seeing the 57 right at Applegate run into that issue off the initial green flag. Applegate going to try to battle back now. He's got a lot of fast cars around him here, as well as the 34 of Aiden Lucas right there on his back bumper. They just got around Ethan Greek. Here comes Caleb Holloman. Here comes Michael Ponder Jr. in that, you do see Jason Bogart back here in that Flex Seal ride. Here's Jaden Porter in the 74. All these drivers just trying to keep themselves out of trouble, trying to keep their rides pointed in the right direction as Matthew Wood going to lead our first lap of the day here in this one. So Wood out in front. Now, I'm not sure what our stage breaks may be here at Chicago. I'm not 100% sure. Let me see, race info, there we go. Okay, so it does say stages are lap 10 and lap 20, so I'm not sure if we're going to get stage cautions or not. If we do, then we will see caution flags flying. We'll get a couple laps around the racetrack under yellow, and then we'll be back to green flag racing. But other than that, it's all localized caution flags, and shouldn't see very many yellows except for those stage breaks here this evening as Matthew Wood continues to lead the way here. Jordan Fisher hanging right there with them. Fisher, they're in position number 2. They got about 4.6 seconds between themselves and this 37 right of Evan Stewart. Stewart rolls there in 3rd with Michael Durham Jr. back in 4th. Ryan Haller trying to hang on to 5th, but he slides down through the corner. That'll open up the door for not only Zach Later to get around him, but there goes his teammate Wyatt Mickelson around him, and the 38 of Keegan Huey now trying to make his way around that 23 machine. So a bit of a mistake right there at Ryan Haller, but able to keep on battling, able to keep on rolling here, and hangs on to position number 7, so only loses a couple spots with that spin, but gotta be very, very careful. Gotta minimize those mistakes if you want to try to have yourself a solid run here today from the Chicago street courses. Out in front, it is Matthew Wood. Wood continues to lead this race, is down across the line and into corner number 1 once again for that 31 machine. The Snap-on Tools number 31 machine looking fresh out there on the speedway here this evening, and he's looking to try to keep on pulling away here from the 19 ride, and the rest of the field is Fisher about 1.2 seconds back behind that 31 ride, and a big gap all the way back now to Evan Stewart. It's almost about 8 seconds between Evan Stewart and our race leader Matthew Wood now on the speedway. Michael Durham Jr. right there as well, and then they got about 5 seconds all the way back here to Zach Claters. Clater rolls there in that 5th position. Wyatt Mickelson in 6th. Haller there in 7th, and now Keegan Huey. Like Keegan ran into some issues here. I'm not sure what's happened here to Keegan Huey, but he's kind of disappeared off the speedway. I'm not sure if he made a mistake or something here. I don't know. Just rolling down the back straightaway here, and all of a sudden he just disappears off the track. He starts blinking, and then he's gone. So a tough break there for Keegan Huey as he is now off the racetrack, and I do believe it did manually disconnect him, and he did reconnect, so he must have ran into that bug right there. I don't know what happened to him, but that's a tough break there for him, obviously, early in this race to run into an issue like that. We do see Jaden Porter also down pit side here. Porter with a big wreck here. Heavy damage onto the 74 ride. Let's take a look and see what happens here. Jaden Porter headed down the front straightaway here. He's got the 97 ride down to his inside, and he just sends it in there maybe too deep. Yep, way too hot. Slams into the outside fence right there. Heavy damage. See that right front just absolutely tore up, pointing the wrong direction here. Obviously that car is struggling now and has to end up just pulling to the right here and takes it down pit side here, gets it towed back down pit road. Heartbreaker there for the Sim Racing Center number 74. Ryan Jaden Porter definitely not wanted his race to go that way as he's down pit side getting some extensive repairs done to his race car as Matthew Wood continues to lead this race as Fisher still there in second, still within striking distance, but about 2 seconds now behind this number 31 of Matthew Wood. Evan Stewart about 10 seconds back behind our race leader now. Scored there in third with Durham Jr. right behind him there is our top four. Have separated themselves a little bit, about 5 seconds back here, all the way to this 39 ride of Zach Glader. Glader about 17 seconds back of our race leader here, just showing you how quick and how good some of these drivers are and how other drivers struggle a little bit more when it comes to these road courses, and definitely need the extra little bit of experience and laps and everything else that they may need to have a good run here today. As you do see Wyatt Mickelson, Wyatt now up and into position number 6 on the speedway, but he's got Aiden Lucas right there. Aiden started down pit side here, started virtually at the back of the pack for that GOAT Racing diecast number 34 ride. Started at the virtual rear of the field down pit road here, and unfortunately definitely didn't get the start where he wanted to, as he qualified in the 3rd position. Had to start though back here at the rear of the field, obviously missing the call to start and stage this race, and he's already battled his way up and through the back of the pack here, up and now starting to work his way through the top 10, and not too far away from stealing that 6th position away from the Ally Jack Daniels Coca-Cola number 51 of Wyatt Mickelson. Is Mickelson going to try to hang on to that 6th position, but Aiden Luke is going to quickly try to take it away from him. As let's take a look here, we do see more drivers running into issues here. Haller having another problem here in the 23 ride. Haller sends it in there. Doesn't really look like too much of an issue. Let's see if there's something that happens here in corner number 2 for the 23 ride. As he's going to send it in there. Yeah, there it is. Just slides sideways. Gets very, very loose. Has to get that thing checked up, and bound up there is the 42 ride of Nick Jensen here. I believe Jensen also going to run into some problems as let's watch this 42 ride. Down the front straightaway here, sends it into corner number 1, looking for a big run, hoping to try to work his way towards the front here, and unfortunately just rolls on the throttle a little bit too soon, spins those tires, spins that car around, and for the National Destination Excellence number 42 ride, goes for a bit of a spin right there. Definitely not what he was hoping for. And back in position number 11 for him, as we do see Caleb Holloman. Holloman a little farther back in the field. He scored back in the 14th position. Looks like the Dr. Pepper ride's going to run into some problems. Looks to make the pass here on the 3 ride of Ethan Greek. Sends it into corner number 1 a little too far. Virtually the same thing we saw happen to Jaden Porter, and Porter still down pit side. Is now the 97 ride, virtually mirroring exactly what he did. Has that bit of front end damage there. Luckily enough, not as hard as what Jaden Porter did out there on the speedway. As Matthew Wood still in front, continue to lead the way here. Just a little over 2.5 seconds separating him and Jordan Fisher. As Fisher, they're in position number 2 as they go up and over the bridge right there and make another hard rider here at the speedway. Fisher there in second. Evan Stewart back in position number 3. They're going to start running into some problems here as Evan trying to keep himself from running into the number 22 ride. That was Michael Ponder Jr. Michael ends up sending it into this corner, and all of a sudden it's right in front of This is Evan Stewart in the 37 ride, and as Evan Stewart sends it in here, the 22's running into issues. He just gets in there a little too hot, bounces it in there. Obviously already some damage on that ride, and you see Evan just comes in, sees it happening, gets onto the binders to try to avoid it, gets onto the brakes a little too much himself, gets that car checked up and stopped there, and lucky enough able to keep on rolling, hangs on to position number 3, but does bring Michael Durham Jr. a little closer to his back bumper. Is out in front. Matthew Wood continuing to lead this race, and already just 6 laps into this race, he's catching up to some of this lap traffic. He's putting some of these guys a lap down here. The cars that are struggling, obviously, Michael Ponder Jr. now a lap down, Ethan Greek now a lap down. Not too far away. I do believe we will see Caleb Holloman there. There's Holloman. He's not too far away from going to lap down himself. Jason Bogart a little farther forward here. May be able to stay on the lead lap before the end of this stage. But for Matthew Wood, he's a man on a mission here this evening. Matthew's just looking to just continue to keep up this pace, continue to lay down the laps, and hope to see if he can try to pick up some big stage wins, some extra points towards the playoffs, and obviously some extra points towards trying to pick up this regular season championship, all to trying to drive himself into the championship here this year. As man, the points are looking pretty spicy here for these guys, man. The points are looking pretty good. A lot of drivers obviously having some good races, other drivers having some bad races. Let's see if we can get the point standings up and onto the screen for everyone to see. Let me take a look here. Let's see if we can get this up and onto the screen here for you guys, so you guys can get a little look-see-poo at it. Not what we wanted. Where are we going with this? I need to find... There we go. All right. Alrighty, okay, let's get this up here so you guys can get a good look here at our point standings, and that way you guys can see kind of where all these drivers are sitting, how they're feeling going into not only this race, but the next few races before our playoffs get underway. Let me just make that a little bit bigger so you guys can see it a little better there. Obviously, this is going to block a bit of the screen, but let's give you guys a good look here at those point standings here on the season, as right now Matthew Wood has 5 wins already on the season, has a pretty sizable point lead between himself and our second-place driver, Grant Applegate. Obviously, Applegate already running into problems here this evening. Zach Perry, our third-place driver, obviously not out there on the racetrack and scored back in the 18th position as of right now. So definitely tough breaks for them. I don't think we've seen Nick Biddy out there on the speedway. Zach Clater is running up inside the top 5. Bogart struggling, Haller struggling. Michael Durham Jr., he's running in the 4th position, as you just saw that number 31 right there. Just actually went and passed the number 17 of Jason Bogart to put him a lap down. Jordan Fisher scored back in the 10th position. Now he's quite a ways away from Matthew Wood. Obviously missed the first few races of this season. Jordan runs in the 2nd spot right now. Keegan Huey started off decent on the night, but unfortunately our 11th place in points driver had some connection issues and is now not out there on the racetrack. And then Evan Stewart. Evan, he's running pretty solidly in that 3rd position right now. Wyatt Mickelson just inside the top 10. Jaden Porter already looks like he's down and out of this race. Logan Perriman not out there. Ethan Greek already a lap down. Jacob Hefner not on the speedway. And Nick Jensen already running into some issues. Still in the lead lap, though, just outside our top 10 on the racetrack. So, obviously, a lot of different things can happen here tonight. A lot of drivers can either gain the points that they need, or a lot of other drivers are unfortunately going to, potentially lose even more points here this evening, as GV says 38 done. No clue why my internet is trash tonight, brother. That's a heartbreaker. That is a heartbreaker, man. And yeah, that's what we kind of figured when we saw you just rolling down the straightaway there, and the cars just started blinking, then you disappeared and haven't popped back up on the racetrack. So obviously internet connection issues, and that's a heartbreaker there for yourself. Obviously an early exit to this race, never what you want to have, especially with playoffs not being too far away, and potentially having those issues could set you back here and potentially, make it tighter for not making the playoffs here this year. As Matthew Wood, he's looking bound already for the playoffs and potentially looking pretty good here for the championship here in the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League, as this 31 rides a man on a mission, already has 5 wins on the season. He missed even, I think, 2-3 races, something like that he didn't come and race, so he ended up missing a bunch of races here to this season as well already. So for Matthew Wood, missing races and still having a pretty sizable point lead, not only over our second place driver in points, but over that cut line as well, and having those 5 wins, man, and looking for win number 6 here on the season already, as he's looking like the car to beat here this evening, and usually is here on these road courses. But 4 seconds behind him, you do see Jordan Fincher. Maybe Fincher can find some late race speed and give him a run for his money here. He's the only driver right now that's able to really hang with that 16 ride. Evan Stewart back in position number 3 here. Stewart just hanging strong. He rolls in that 3rd position, is now Aiden Lucas up and into position number 4. So from starting down on pit road here, he's been working his way up and through the traffic, and Aiden now finds himself into that 4th spot on the speedway, trying to get that GOAT Racing diecast ride up into the fight at the front of the field. Michael Durham Jr. there in 5th, with Zach Clater back in 6th. Wyatt Mickelson there in 7th. Applegate, who ran into that opening lap incident there, which almost took out the 31 of Matthew Wood here this evening. Applegate rolls there in the 8th position with Trent Johns in the Raising Canes number 8 ride. They're in 9th, and Ryan Haller in the McDonald's number 23 rolls there in 10th. Nick Jensen back in 11th here, and then we do see Caleb Holloman. Unfortunately, Caleb has went a lap down. Nick Jensen was able to just stay on the lead lap right there, as we do see couple of our race leaders here, they've checked up here. Matthew Wood slowed down this straightaway, but I do believe that they have ended their stage at the end of lap number 10 already, so they are just kind of waiting patiently here for the rest of the field and allowing them to kind of catch up and waiting for the caution flag to be thrown, as it won't be thrown until our 10th place driver finishes their lap. As Rodney Stewart, what's good, Rodney, says, "Go, Evan, go." Cheering on that number 37 ride is Evan Stewart right now, hanging on to position number 3 here, and it looks like he will come home third in stage number 1 this evening. So good first stage there for Evan Stewart. Aiden Lucas there in 4th. Michael Durham Jr. back in 5th. Zach Clater in 6th. And then we see Wyatt Mickelson in 7th. Applegate there in 8th. Trent Johns back in 9th, and Ryan Haller just down across the line will round out our top 10 here in our first stage of the day. Nick Jensen there in 11th here, as he'll finish his lap in just a little bit. Just got to wait a little bit longer for this number 42 ride to finish his lap, but the caution flag is out. The stage has come to a close here, and now drivers will get to decide here. They'll get to decide for when they want to head down pit road, maybe get some fuel, get some tires, get everything that they desire out there on the speedway to try to help them up and into victory lane here today. Who's got something for Matthew Wood? That's the big question. Can Fisher find something? Can he find that extra gear to jump up here and battle with Matthew Wood for this race win? Does Evan Stewart or Aiden Lucas have something in their back pocket that they can jump up here and battle and race for the win this evening? As Michael Durham Jr., he's looked very, very strong. He's been right up there battling with these guys for quite a bit of this race. We'll have to wait and see if maybe he can make a couple changes, get this car that extra little bit of speed, and find his way up here into the fight at the front of the field. As all these guys will get lined back up, the pace car will exit the pit lane here in front of Matthew Wood, and we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing here in just a little bit. Pit stops next time around, and then we should see the green flag at a couple laps from now, but we are going to get a quick break in here. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, don't go anywhere, as the racing action going to come right at you in just a few more moments.
Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, peacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy.
Alrighty, here they come down pit side. Drivers getting ready to make their first pit stop of the evening. We did see pretty much everyone come down pit road. We did see Zach Claytor end up staying out here. So Claytor in the Monster Energy 39 ride did not come down pit side here. Bold strategy there for that 39 machine. We did see Caleb Holloman get the wave around here. He got the free pass, the lucky dunk. He's back on the lead lap here this evening. Great break there for the Dr. Pepper number 97 ride. Ethan Greek, unfortunately, still a lap down here. And with the 39 ride staying out, that will keep him a lap down unless if Claytor decides to head down pit road next time by the start-finish line here. If he does make that hard right-hand turn down pit side, then he could potentially allow this 3 ride to take the wave around here this evening. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Now it's going to play out for the 3 ride. Obviously, not getting any fuel or tires right there. Going to be struggling even more than the other drivers here this evening. And yeah, Jaden, we did refresh there for you. And unfortunately, I don't think it changed any paint schemes. I think everyone's paint schemes look exactly the way they did beforehand. So if there's a certain one you were hoping was going to be refreshed and back to what you thought it was going to be, maybe it's just an trading paints thing. Maybe trading paints didn't get updated for you and doesn't have that one loaded in as this session. I'm not sure. Or if it's supposed to be different, if other people can see it differently. I'm not 100% sure. All I know is that you hit Control R and it refreshes trading paints, and sometimes it works out good, sometimes it doesn't work so good. As Ronnie Stewart says, Evan has done good on a road course this season. Yeah, he's done pretty good. He's done all right on the road courses. Evan hasn't done too bad on the road courses. There's definitely a few other drivers I think that are going to be up there challenging him for this 3rd spot on the speedway. Obviously, when you look back there, I mean, Michael Durham Jr. kind of hung with him there for quite a while. Aiden Lucas was able to catch up to him, almost get around him there before the end of that stage. I'm sure we'll see Aiden try to drive his way back up there. Obviously, a slower pit stop there for Aiden. He will get ready to restart back in 7th. Interesting to see what drivers like Grant Applegate can do. Maybe if Haller can keep himself clean out there in that beautiful McDonald's ride, see if he can get himself back up into the action here today, as well as out in front, it is Zach Claytor. Claytor is going to stay out on the speedway, so some different pit strategy here this evening for that 39 ride. Unfortunately for the 3 machine, Ethan Greek here. Ethan is still a lap down, and he will actually have to fall to the rear of the field here, and that's a tough spot to be. Honestly, looking for that wave around there, hoping to get that free pass around the pace truck. Unfortunately, with the 39 staying out on the speedway, Zach Claytor virtually traps him a lap down out there on the racetrack, and he didn't even get to make a pit stop there. So that's a double whammy for that 3 machine, and definitely going to hurt him here this evening and his opportunity to keep on battling today, as Zach Claytor will get ready for this restart. Now we'll get to see kind of what the tires are going to look like after a 10-lap green flag run compared to, you know, drivers that have fresh tires on their race cars compared to that 39 ride. Will he be a sit and duck? Will he just be spinning those tires and falling farther and farther back through the field in a quick hurry? Will it benefit him? Will it give him an advantage out there? I'm not 100% sure it will or it won't, as he was able to gain a little bit of track position, but now he's got to worry about these fresh tires. And at the same point in time, I mean, everyone's still got 2 sets of fresh tires back behind pit wall. So if they throw an extra set on during the next stage break at lap number 20, which is not very far away, and then potentially throw another set on around lap 30, I don't know how it's going to help him out or if it's going to be an advantage for him anytime here this evening, except for maybe a very late caution flag. No one else has tires, but we probably won't see any on-course yellows other than the stage breaks here at the Chicago Road Course. So it's going to be interesting to see how this kind of all plays out and how this is going to affect some of these drivers, and especially for that 39 ride, how he'll be able to handle and hang on to this car as we get ready to go back to battle here in just a few more moments, as the Chicago road course, always so much fun, always so interesting when obviously the NASCAR group goes here and we see them racing at this speedway. Obviously, we've seen some exciting road course action here over the last little bit with NASCAR. Obviously, just going to Mexico City. That was a very, very fun race to watch. Definitely a bit of a different road course that these guys are used to and put on a pretty decent show for us. And then, obviously, last night, man, I got to say it, probably almost every year now, man, that those Atlanta races, I think those Atlanta races are honestly the best races of the season. Those ones always seem to be absolute bangers. Whether or not there's big wrecks in them or there's no big wrecks in them, it's always craziness right there at the end. Honestly, we saw the closest finish, 3-wide finish ever in NASCAR there, and man, so many crazy accidents, so many crazy passes and everything else, man. The back and forth and side by side, the 2-wide, 3-wide, everything else that we see there is so much fun. Here we go. Back to green flag racing. Matthew looking to make sure he doesn't get ran over here on this restart. So far, looks like everyone able to make it through corner number 1 fairly easily. Everyone's able to keep themselves from running over top of one another, and you see Matthew Wood quickly clear that 39 right of Zach Clater. Clater does slide back, as now you do see the 8 ride turned around. Oh, that's a heartbreaker right there for Trent Johns. Johns goes for a bit of a slide down through corner number 2, able to get that thing rolling once again, but does fall all the way back into the 12th position on the racetrack. As Matthew Wood out in front, Zach Clater trying to hang on to position number 2 here as Jordan Fisher back in position number 3 now. So Fisher back in the 3rd has a whole new gaggle of cars around him here. Now he's got that 0-0 ride on Michael Durham Jr. working to his back bumper. Here comes Evan Stewart and that 34 ride of Aiden Lucas. The 51, Wyatt Mickelson right there ready to pounce as well, as this is the exciting part about having caution flags and stage breaks here at the road courses. We get the bunch of these drivers right back up, put them back together here and see who's got the right changes, who's made the right moves, and who can try to put themselves up and into victory lane here today. Is Matthew Wood out in front. He leads the way. Zach Clater there in 2nd. And then we see Jordan Fisher back in 3rd. Fish rolls there in that 3rd spot with Michael Durham Jr. back in position number 4. Evan Stewart rounding out our top 5 is Stewart. Hang on to it. Evan gets sideways there out of the final corner here at Chicago, and he gets sideways. Unfortunately, his teammate Wyatt Mickelson had to get onto the binders to avoid contact there with him. Sorry, not his teammate, but the almost identical looking paint scheme out there, both black and white race cars there, as Evan Stewart goes around. Wyatt Mickelson had to get onto the binders there, and his teammate Ryan Haller able to get around both of them there, and Haller jumps up into position number 6 on the speedway. Haller and the 37 of Evan Stewart both bank it off the outside fence there at exiting corner number 2, both able to keep it rolling, keep it pointing in the right direction here, as we do see more drivers a little deeper in the field running into issues again here. We did see Ethan Greek have more problems in the 3 ride on, I don't know where this is. This is down into corner number 2 here. I do believe this is when Trent Johns goes around, and then they see that. They end up running into Trent Johns, having to get stopped there on the racetrack. A tough break there for the 3 ride. More issues for him on the day than we did see Michael Durham Jr. just run into some problems here. So Durham Jr., he's rolling what was in the 3rd position, 4th position on the racetrack here. He's actually in 3rd at this point with only Matthew Wood and that number 19 of Jordan Fisher in front of him, and all of a sudden it just rolls down through that corner, a little bit too much speed back onto the throttle and loops that car around. Unfortunately, has to wait for all these guys to get around him, falls all the way back into the 9th position. Tough break there for him, and now a little bit of damage on that car as well, as he rolls there in that 9th spot on the speedway. It's Matthew Wood, though. Matthew just picking right up where he left off, and that is out in front here. 1 second, just a little over 1 second, the gap between himself and Jordan Fisher. Fisher, though, is trying to track him down here. Fisher did gain a little bit there on that last corner, as you do see Zach Clater now trying to hold off Aiden Lucas. Lucas looking to try to get around that 39 machine, as Ryan Haller now up inside the top 5 with Mickelson right there behind him in 6th. Applegate there in 7th. Evan Stewart there in position number 8 with Michael Durham Jr. and Trent Johns rounding out our top 10. Nick Jensen back in 11th, the last car on the lead lap here this evening as Ethan Greek, the first car 1 lap down, rolls there in 12th. Jason Bogart there in 13th. Caleb Holloman, unfortunately, now down pit side here in behind. Jaden Porter there on the speedway as Michael Ponder Jr. A couple laps down there. He's actually going to make the move around Caleb Holloman and up into 14th. Holloman will slide back to 15th here as Keegan Huey also down and out of this race. Porter down pit side, and Zach Perry has not joined this race at all here this evening as he scored back there. But look at the battle at the front of the field here. Oh, baby, Matthew Wood, he may have his hands full here as all of a sudden Jordan Fisher starting to put the pressure on the back bumper of this 31 ride. The Snap-on Tools machine and Matthew Wood will have to try to find a little extra something here to try to keep this 19 ride back there at bay. And if this is a sight of what's to come here, Matthew may have his hands full here throughout the rest of this race. The 19 ride, I thought maybe they're during that first stage was kind of hanging back, laying back there, maybe not pushing the subject too much early on in this race, but now starting to reel his way into this 31 ride. We'll have to wait and see if he can stay there and hang with them and see if he can try to even make the pass and steal the race lead away from this 31 ride here today. It's nice and easy down through that set of corners here. They head back down this longer straightaway here into, I do believe, corner number 5, 6, something like that. If they're on the racetrack, I'm not too sure on how many corners this track has. Let me take a look if we can get the track map up and onto the screen here for all of us to enjoy there. There you go. There's a good look at the track map. That'll give you a good look at where these drivers are and what they're doing, where they're positioned. So every circle out there, you see the red and green. There's a red circle with the 1 in it with the green outline on it. That is our race leader. Now you'll see every spot behind it is a corresponding position. That is their position on the racetrack, not their actual racing number. So you see the 6 number, that's our 6th place driver. You see the 8th number, that's our 8th place driver. And right now you do see these guys headed back down across the start finish line here, as I do believe they'll head into quarter number 1 here at the speedway. So there's 1, 2, kind of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 corners here. I don't know how they would score that that little bit of a horseshoe there. I don't know how they would score that. Is it 1 on entry, 1 through it, and then 1 on exit? Or is it like just 1 on entry, 1 on exit, and it's just part of the track? I don't know. Road courses always have me guessing. I don't know much about these road courses other than you turn left and you turn right, and they're longer, they're a lot of fun, and they're always interesting to see who's got that road course gear to them to be able to jump up and compete and battle for road course wins. Is out in front right now is the 31 ride. He's the car to beat, and right now that 19 of Jordan Fisher, the Fear the Fish ride, rolls right there in position number 2, not letting Matthew Wood really run away with this second stage. But Matthew may just be kind of hanging out here, just running easy, knowing that he can keep that 19 back there at bay, maybe burn up Jordan Fisher's equipment here a little bit and just take it easy himself here, as he doesn't want to spill his macchiato out there on the racetrack, as Aiden Lucas tries to hunt both of them down here. He has been running a little bit quicker than both these drivers out in front, hasn't gained too much time, but he is slowly but surely chipping away at Matthew Wood and Jordan Fisher's lead on him, and he's looking to try to work his way up inside the top 2 here on the speedway. Zach Later back in position number 4. Evan Stewart there in position number 5 on the speedway, so he's been able to battle back up inside the top 5 as Haller slides back to 6th. Durham Jr. there in 7th. Wyatt Mickelson back into 8th now on the speedway with Trent Johns, Nick Jensen, Grant Applegate now our top 11 here on the speedway. Matthew Wood and them down the corner 1 and 2 here, and down into 3, 4, 5 out there on the racetrack, or however they score that, and looking to head back down towards what's that little cross part there in the racetrack. And right now, Matthew Wood once again starting to stretch out that race lead. Again, another bit of a lead here for him as he heads down into the 6th corner on the racetrack here with about a second lead between himself and Jordan Fisher on what is our final lap here of stage number 2. So this is our final lap here in stage 2, and for the number 31, Ryan, looking for another big win, another stage win here on the season for Matthew Wood potentially, but you do see Fisher really close the gap there through that set of corners. He's right there. He's on the back bumper here of Matthew Wood. Does he give him a brotherly shove out there on the racetrack to try to steal this stage away from Matthew Wood here this evening? I don't know if he's going to be able to get there. It's down through that final corner on the racetrack and back down across the start-finish line. Looks like Matthew Wood will hang on to it. Matthew will pick up stage win number 2 here this evening. So Matthew wins that second stage. Fisher there in second. Aiden Lucas back in third with Zach Clater, Evan Stewart, Michael Durham Jr., Ryan Haller, Wyatt Mickelson, Trent Johns, Nick Jensen, potentially all going to be our top 10 here in stage number 2, but top 10 haven't completed the race yet. There's the 39 just down across the line. There's the 37 of Evan Stewart rounding out our top 5. Now we're waiting for Michael Durham Jr. Here he comes exiting the final corner down across the line. Michael Durham Jr. will come home in position number 6. There's Ryan Haller. Haller's got some pretty heavy right front damage here on this 23. Ryan, he'll definitely be looking to head down pit side to get that thing repaired. Obviously heavy damage there for that right front. It's barely even pointing in the right direction, so that's definitely a tough break for him. Is Wyatt Mickelson will come home in 8th. Trent Johns back there in position number 9. Nick Jensen now running at our top 10 as there is that caution flag. Unfortunately for Michael Ponder Jr., he buried it into the wall there in corner number 1 and has given himself even more damage here in that 22 machine. Obviously more head-on contact, more damage for him, and unfortunately that's going to make him have to come down pit side, get that thing repaired as that right front pointed the wrong direction here, looking a lot like that 23 Orion Haller, as Haller definitely has that front end damage. He'll be looking to try to get that car squared up and away and try to get it fixed back up here before we go back to green flag racing as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to battle here in just a couple more moments as stage number 2 quickly come and gone here from the Chicago Street Course, and we're about halfway in, about halfway to go here in this feature event. Now we get the privilege of waiting for this stage to kind of come to an end and go back to green flag racing here. So it's going to be a little while as drivers coming back down across the start finish line as the caution flag is out. They'll finally meet up with the official iRacing pace truck here down at corner number 1 and 2 on the speedway, and we'll get them all wound up and everyone back into line. Next time around they will head down pit side and then a couple laps until we go back to green flag racing, so that'll give us time for a little bit of a break here as we'll get a quick drink in here and a quick bathroom break, and we'll get ready to rumble here once again for our final stage of the day in just a few more moments.
Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, peacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the ground stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the ground stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. the grind, stay greasy. Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, pacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checkered flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. 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 Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, pacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checkered flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy.
Alrighty, here we go, getting ready to go back to green flag racing here as our final stage is upon us here in this one, as James Jones says, let's go Fish, cheering on Fisher here this evening, as right now Fisher is going to restart here in position number 2 here this evening as these drivers get ready to duke it out here once again. They get ready to go back to battle as Matthew Wood out in front. Matthew has that race lead, and Wood will get ready to start here from the top spot. He will be the control car here on the restart, but he is electing to use the outside lane down into corner number 1. Now, it will set him up for corner number 2, but if he can clear that 19 ride down into the first corner, then he'll be feeling very good here today, but it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out, as he does get a great launch there, a good jump over the 19 ride as everyone's starting to spread out, everyone trying to find lanes. We'll see if anyone makes a mistake down here into corner number 1, as that's always a scary spot here, not wanting to get ran over by all the cars back behind you. As Matthew Wood does hang on to the race lead here, he will have that inside lane down through corner number 2, and he'll jump back out in front with ease here in front of Jordan Fisher. Fisher gave him a run for his money there for a little bit during stage number 2. We'll see if he can try to battle back to the rear bumper here of that 31 ride, show Matthew Wood how to get it done, and maybe try to see if he can jump up and steal this win away from that snap-on machine here this evening. Aiden Lucas battled his way up and into the top 3 there before the end of stage 1, and then there in stage 2 had to start from about the 7th position. Took him a little time, but he got back up here towards the front of the field and into that 3rd spot of the speedway again. So a couple 3rd place runs there in stage 1 and 2 for the 34 ride, a couple 2nd place finishes there in the first couple stages for Jordan Fisher, and for Matthew Wood being able to pick up the first 2 stage wins of the day. And for that 31 ride of Matthew Wood here this evening, he'll be looking to try to pick up the checkered flag here, as he's looking to be that reflection of perfection. He's led every lap so far here this evening, and he's hoping to lead every lap for the rest of this race. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out, how it's going to work out for him here, as we may see green flag pit stops here before the end of this race, as everyone did come down pit side. They're around lap number 22. Then we had a couple more laps there of caution flag racing. So didn't get that green flag until 24 laps in, virtually 25 there. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting there. As they took the green flag with 24 to go. As now we look at the 34 of Aiden Lucas. Lucas sideways there at a corner number 2. That's opened up the door here once again for Zach Glader and potentially Evan Stewart to work their way around that 34 ride, and that's brought the 00 ride of Michael Durham Jr. right into this fight as well. Durham now all over the back bumper there of Evan Stewart. Now the 34 ride of Aiden Lucas has to try to figure out a way to jump back up and get around Zach Glader here for position number 3. Quickly takes a look down to the inside. He'll look to try to get it back here in this junction point corner here down into, I do believe, corner 6, and then up and over the bridge here over the railroad tracks and into corner number 7 here at Chicago Raceway here this evening. The Chicago Street Course here for all these amazing drivers, as the 31 ride of Matthew Wood continues to lead this race, but right there hanging with them is Jordan Fisher. Fisher, we told you during that 2nd stage, he was able to put the pressure to the back bumper of that 31 ride, but later in that run, we did see that 31 just pull away there late in that stage, drive in, pick up that stage win with ease, as Hardy Designs, what's good, Hardy Designs? Hardy says that 19 looking fast as always, and looks good. It does look good out there on the speedway, that is for certain. It does look pretty fresh out there. That orange and green really makes it pop out there, man. We like watching that Fish car battle out there on the speedway, and right now he's fishtailing it, trying to find all the speed, all the momentum that he can find to try to jump up and battle with Matthew Wood here for this race win, as no one wants to see Matthew Wood back up into victory lane. Already the most winningest driver here in the series with 5 wins already on the season, and this would be win number 6 here for him. And if it wasn't for him missing 2 or 3 races on the season, there's probably another couple wins that he may have been able to already have. And lucky enough, he missed a few races and allowed some other drivers to win some races here on the year, but he's been back. Last race picked up the win, this race looking for another win here, and he's trying to hold off Jordan Fisher. But Fisher, he doesn't want to see him up in victory lane either. He wants to keep that 31 right back there at bay, and unfortunately take his chance at a checkered flag here again on the season. So we'll have to wait and see if Fisher can battle his way back up here and put himself back into the win column here this year. As right now, only Matthew Wood, he's the only driver to win multiple races here on the season. He's the only one with 5 wins. He's the only one with more than 1 win, as we did see Zach Perry pick up a dub, Aiden Lucas, Nick Biddy, all 3 of those drivers have had wins. Jordan Fisher picked up a win. Wyatt Mickelson picked up a win here, and right now no one wants to see Matthew Wood pick up win number 6 on the season. I think a lot of these other drivers would probably be pretty happy to see Jordan Fisher pick up another win here on the year, as definitely a very deserving, showing a lot of speed in a lot of these races. Hasn't had the finishes quite that he's really deserved or wanted, but he's been able to battle back here after not being in the series for the first couple races of the season. Already behind the ball, he's battled back here and now is in the 10th position in those points, and looking to continue to move forward through the points here and putting himself towards the hunt for the championship here this year. And right now, man, he's all over the back bumper of Matthew Wood. Wood is feeling that pressure once again. It seemed like kind of right around the same amount of time. The first few laps, Matthew was able to kind of hold him off, and then all of a sudden, Fisher's car just really came to life. Started to track down this 31 ride and putting the pressure to his back bumper. Now, I think the only way that Fisher wins this race is over the next couple laps, where it seems like his car maybe is a little bit better than Matthew Wood is, to make that pass right now. He's got to make that pass. He's got to size him up. He's got to line him up and take advantage of having a fast car right now and just getting in front of that Snap-on Tools machine, as Dalton Burness says, Fish gonna start pushing. 10 to go. Woo, 10 to go. He's gonna start pushing, eh? He's saving somewhere. He's saving somewhere. I think the 31 ride might be saving everywhere. That's the big thing. That's the big thing. Fisher is there. Fisher's with him. But for Matthew Wood, we saw it there in that first stage. Opened up about a 7-second lead, 8-second lead, something like that. Something crazy over Fisher and the rest of the field during that first stint, and even during that second stint, as Fisher started putting the pressure to his back bumper and was kind of hanging with them. All of a sudden, it was like a flick of a switch, and that 31 ride just came to life and again just pulled away and just left these guys back in the dust there at the end of that stage, as Hardy Design says tires are coming in. Tires are coming in, he says. 100, he says. 100. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Tires definitely are going to be warm now after that slide right there for the 19 ride. Definitely going for a little bit of a slide. That's going to basically warm those back tires up quite a bit, as Brian says, let's go Matthew. Cheering on Matthew out there. How are you, Brian? How you doing? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful day, as he's cheering on Mr. Wood here this evening, as Dalton says those walls aren't helping. Laugh out loud. Yeah, they definitely are helping. The walls don't help a whole lot. They may be a little bit of a buffer. They may be able to bounce you back onto the racetrack and keep you rolling, but you do it too many times, you scrape it too much, and you can really tear up your race car in a quick hurry. As a lot of other drivers back here throughout the field have just been running into a slew of issues. These cars looking beat up and worn out here, as you see Ryan Haller and the 57 of Applegate. They're battling here. Let's see what happens here, as Haller sends it into the corner, gets loose, washes up into the fence, and I do believe Applegate shortly thereafter runs into virtually the same issue here. Let's take a look and see what happens here to Applegate, as he's going to roll in here. He's going to roll a couple corners. Let's see if we can get a look at what happens here. Maybe a little farther forward. There it is. Okay, well, let's take a look and see what happens to Applegate here on lap number 29, as he sends it into the junction point right here. Maybe a little bit too hot. Steps on it, and unfortunately spins that Finley Farms 57 right around. So a tough break there for him as well, going for a bit of a skid and slide there. We did see Nick Jensen run into some problems here. Let's take a look at Jensen. Already tore up there. That front right looking absolutely tore up, as sure Haller says, let's go number 23. Haller cheering on Ryan Haller here this evening. Anna, how are you, Anna? Anna says, Matthew, you got this. Cheering on Matthew Wood here this evening as well. Good to see the Alessandros in the chat here. Alessandros. Hopefully I'm saying that right, as Anna and Brian both tuning in, cheering on Matthew Wood here this evening. But we do have some news for you as we get a new race leader. Jordan Fisher, the Fish, able to jump up and take that race lead away from Matthew Wood. Fisher jumps up, takes the race lead away from the 31. Right, let's take a look and see how he got it done. As Matthew Wood just gets sideways here through the final corner. A little contact there between the two of them, but that does open up the door for Fisher to jump out in front of Matthew Wood. Wood slides it through there and now puts Jordan Fisher out in front, and that may have been the break that Fisher was looking for, as that puts him into the front of the field. He's got control of this race, and now he's got to try and put these other drivers, potentially a lap down, or just try to pull away here from Matthew Wood. Does the damage affect the 19 right? Does the damage affect the 31 here late in this race, as we are done 30 laps of this feature event? We got just under 10 laps left to go here on the speedway, as Anna says, you said it right. Okay, perfect. I appreciate it. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I got it right. As Dalton says, Houdini 10 to go. He's taken off, he says. Just hold on to it for now, Fish. Just hold on to it for now. That is right, as they do got some lap traffic right there. That's going to allow the 31 to close the door here and reel in a little bit tighter to the 19 ride, and then he makes the mistake. Virtually the same thing as what we saw with the 19, or for the 31 ride here. Fisher sends it in there. A little too deep here, a little too hot. Spins those rear tires and just slides it up into the fence. That allows Matthew Wood to jump back up, take that race lead back away, but then Wood, I think, does the same thing he did the lap before here. Let's take a look at what happens, as I'm pretty sure Wood took that race lead, and then he ends up sliding in again into the final corner here. Too hot. Gets in there pretty deep. Gets into the fence here. Both drivers pushing it to the limits here. Both drivers wearing out and destroying their race cars, trying to just battle for this race win here this evening. Both of them have had opportunities to be out in front and just have control of this race, and then both of them have made mistakes here and have cost themselves the race lead. So this is going to be interesting to see how this will all play out. But once again, you do see Wood right back to the rear bumper here. Jordan Fisher putting that pressure back onto the 19 ride, is back behind him a little farther away. You do see the 34 of Aiden Lucas. Evan Stewart right there in position number 4 and looking for more. The 00 Michael Durham Jr. back in 5th with Wyatt Mickelson there in 6th. Zach Later back in 7th with Trent Johns, Applegate, Ryan Haller, our top 10 out there on the racetrack. As Jordan Fisher, though, hangs on to the race lead here this time, and the next time around the start-finish line, we will see only 8 more laps left to go. And now the big question is going to be, is pit stop's going to be an issue. Will we see these drivers have to come down pit side? Will they come down pit side here? That's going to be the big question. We haven't seen anyone really come down pit road as of yet, but this time looks like both drivers able to make it down through those final 2 corners on the racetrack without running into issues themselves, and they'll try to size each other up down here into corner number 1 for another lap. 8 laps left to go in this race. Ooh, doggy, these guys been having some fun, man. This looks like a blast out there. I'm sure these guys are having an absolute great time here, duking it out here at the front of the field. It's been a lot of fun watching what they can do, as we do see Aiden Lucas running into some problems now. Looks like Evan Stewart ran into a slight issue here, as Evan was trying to take position number 3 away from Aiden Lucas, and looks like they're going to run into some issues here. Well, let's watch. Let's take a look. Here's Stewart. Sends it in there. Gets on the binders. Spins those tires around. And unfortunately, Washers back up into the 34 ride. They come together. And looks like Evan's going to be able to come out of it with the race lead. Unfortunately for Aiden Lucas, gets quite a bit of damage there out of that. And slides back now into position number 4. But does look like he will take that 3rd spot back away from Evan Stewart. So Aiden Lucas didn't take long to jump back around there of Evan Stewart and back into 3rd as Fisher. Matthew Wood still 1 and 2 out there on the racetrack. These two are still neck and neck out there on the racetrack, and they're starting to run into some lap traffic here. How is that going to affect this race? How are this lap traffic going to make these drivers handle differently, or if they can hit it right or time it right on trying to use this lap traffic maybe as a bit of a pick out there on the racetrack? As you can see, Matthew Wood right on the back bumper there of Jordan Fisher, and it looks like both are lap down cars there. Ethan Greek and the 97 of Holloman both going to move down and out of the way here as Matthew takes a look to the inside, and the 19 slides it in there a little far, gets a little piece of that wall. Matthew Wood going to take advantage, puts the power down to the outside, takes that race lead back away from Jordan Fisher. So Fisher, unfortunately, going around there and into the fence, and unfortunately gives up that race lead there. Just that slight contact, that slight mistake, open up the door now for Matthew Wood to take that race lead away. And now Matthew going to look to just try to hang on to the race lead and keep himself out in front here, not wanting to make another mistake here himself. As Rodney Stewart says, hang in there, Evan, trying to cheer on Evan Stewart here this evening, as right now Evan does hang on to that fourth position on the racetrack. But he's got to be very careful, as not too far behind him is that 00 Michael Durham Jr. Durham trying to hunt down that number 37. Ryan wanting to move himself up into the fourth position on the racetrack as Matthew Wood now leads the way here. Matthew Wood out in front, Fisher there in second. This could be a tight battle here to the end, or this could be the opening that Matthew Wood needed to have that race lead back, and maybe now just done playing with his food and maybe see if he tries to pull away here from the rest of the field. Or Fisher, does he have enough to battle back here and put the pressure back onto the rear bumper of that 16 rider, try to jump up and steal this race lead again here from Matthew Wood. He's not going to probably get too many more opportunities. Matthew doesn't tend to make too many mistakes out there on the racetrack, so it'll be interesting to see if Matthew does end up making another mistake, if Jordan Fisher will be there to be able to take advantage of it and put himself potentially back out in front. As Aiden Lucas, he's about 17 seconds behind that battle here. Our third place driver 17 seconds back of our race leaders, as that's just showing you the pace that the 16 and the 19 rides are rolling out there on the racetrack right now, with only 6 laps left to go in this race. This 31 machine of Matthew Wood, he's just clicking them off and picking them off one by one as he just put the Flex Seal number 17 rider Jason Bogart a lap down there, as Bogart now back into position number 11. Now the first car 1 lap down, as Anna says yes to Matthew taking the race lead back away. Sure, Haller says come on Haller, move on up, cheering on Mr. Ryan Haller out there on the speedway. Haller's got to be fairly careful here. He's not too far away from Trent Johns, but we do see Grant Applegate end up making his way down pit side here. Nick Jensen also coming down pit side. So potentially pit stops are on the horizon here. Maybe drivers can't make it to the end. We'll have to wait and see how tight the fuel may be here this evening, and when these drivers may decide that they have to come down pit side here in this race. As this time down through the final corner here at the Chicago Street Course, it looks like both our race leaders will stay out on the racetrack as they complete lap 35. We get 5 more laps left to go. 5 more laps left here in this race for the number 31 of Matthew Wood, looking to try to pick up that checkered flag. We do see Applegate now go a lap down. Nick Jensen also a lap down. They're down pit road. Ethan Greek also down pit side here. Now I'm not sure if they're just down pit road for the extended period of time, or if they'll roll back out onto the racetrack, potentially just calling it a day here. Obviously all 3 cars with some pretty serious damage, and now all 3 cars at least a lap down out there on the racetrack. Yes, Matthew Wood out in front. Matthew trying to open up that gap here, about 1.3 seconds between himself and Jordan Fisher, as Fisher rolls there in position number 2. Now they are still about 17 seconds in front of Aiden Lucas, and unfortunately for Aiden, I don't know if he'll be able to catch these guys, even if they get tied together and have an issue or two out there on the racetrack with each other. I don't think he'd still have enough time to hunt them down. They could give up 3-4 seconds a lap and still be in front of that third place driver Aiden Lucas here this evening, and even farther back, about 37 seconds behind our race leader is Michael Durham Jr. as Durham has jumped up into position number 4. Wyatt Mickelson now into 5th as Evan Stewart slides back now into position number 6 on the speedway. It looks like Evan Stewart ran into some more issues here. Looks like he's trying to make the move around the 97 right here of Caleb Holloman. Brings it down to core number 1 here. Potentially just gets in too hot. Gets onto the binders. Unfortunately, kind of locks him up. Car spins around, slides it down into core number 1 here, and then trying to get this thing turned around. Gets a piece of the fence. Still trying to get this thing pointed back in the right direction. As of right now, just pointed the wrong way, and that's where you see the number 00 get around him. We see the 51 of Wyatt Mickelson get around him there, and unfortunately for a couple of those guys, that's going to definitely hurt them here in this one. As out in front, Matthew Wood continues to hang on to the race lead, as GV says 42 has too much damage. 39 is the only car a CHR car left standing. Oh no, it's the only car for the CHR team left standing out there on the speedway. That's a heartbreaker, man. But right now, Claytor is doing a fairly decent job rolling there in 7th. Doesn't have too much damage or issues there for his car this evening. A little contact there on the front corners, but not too much. And hanging a pretty wheel here as laps continue to click down here. And the battle at the front of the field still raging on. These two still right tight together, man. Haven't really seen them break too far apart as Matthew Wood hangs on to the race lead. It's Jordan Fisher about 7/10 of a second back there behind him. Fisher trying to mount another challenge here late in this race. We talked about it right from the top of the show that these two are probably going to be two of the cars to beat here this evening, and they're going to be the ones to put on a show here. I thought for a little bit that maybe Aiden Lucas would be right there with them, battling with these guys. Unfortunately for Aiden, he's only been able to get up to 3rd and hasn't really been able to run with these two, man. They've been kind of in the their own time zone out there, their own little area code here this evening with 3 laps left to go. They're hoping just to see no caution flags, keeping it clean and green. No big issues out there for them to be able to just run home and see if they can duke it out amongst each other for this win. And right now, that 31 right of Matthew Wood, he's hoping to try to get this dub and keep all these other cars back behind him, including that 19 ride. Does scrape the wall a little bit right there. So doesn't Fisher, but Wood makes a big mistake right there. Heavy hit. The left front busted for the 31, and that's the break that Jordan Fisher needed to win this race. As I think this is going to be a night killer for that 31 right of Matthew Wood. Let's take a look at it as the 31 sends it down in here. Unfortunately gets it a little too hot here. Tanks this McDonald's wall right here, then gets in too hot still into the next corner, and maybe already the right front busted after that first hit. That's potentially where it may have happened here. Let's take a look here. See if we can get another look at this left front here for this number 31 right. As he sends it into this corner here, he's going to end up making car contact right there with that wall, and you can see that left front already not turning. It's already busted. That's why the car will not make this corner. Unfortunately, carries the speed and hoping to get that turn. Does not find that turn. Ends up into the safer barriers, causing more damage there to that left front, unfortunately, for Matthew Wood. I do believe that is going to take him down pit side and out of this race, which will forfeit the race lead over to the 19 rider Jordan Fisher. So Fisher now with that race lead here this evening. Aiden Lucas now into 2nd with Michael Durham Jr. back there in 3rd. Wyatt Mickelson rolls in 4th as Evan Stewart there in the 5th position. Zach Claytor, Ryan Haller, Trent Johns, and Jason Bogart now rounding out our top 9. Everyone else is either a lap down, multiple laps down, or already off of the racetrack and out of this race. So a bit of a twist of turns here. Very interesting finish to this race. And right now, Jordan Fisher trying to work his way through some lap traffic here, trying to figure out a way to get around Trent Johns, to put him a lap down, to get around Ryan Haller, to put him a lap down, but he really doesn't have to pass either of these drivers. But the 8 right sends it in there way too deep. Trent Johns almost gets into the fence there himself, and he'll keep himself out in front as Dalton says, "Woo, call me Mystic Man, Mystic Mike." I mean, he didn't really call it. I mean, you called it as in he was going to be there in battle with the 31 right, but no one expected Matthew Wood to blow it in there too far and take himself out of this race. That's definitely a tough one for the 31 machine here this evening. Matthew Wood definitely did not want to see that one, as that ouch is for certain there. Ouch for certain for Mr. Wood, as that takes him out of this race. And it says, no. And I did not want to see that one. But Jordan Fisher, he loved to see it. He got a front row seat at it, watched it happen, and got to drive right on by and take that race lead, and now sees that white flag fly. So all he's got to do is make it one more trip around the racetrack here, and he will be crowned our race winner. As you do see Haller up into the outside fence right there. Big hit for Ryan Haller. Unfortunately, that will allow the 8 machine of Trent Johns to get around him. Trent will jump back up into 7th. Haller now back into 8th here, now a lap down as well. As Jordan Fisher, though, out in front, has about 14 seconds between himself and Aiden Lucas. All he needs to do here is just kind of mind his P's and Q's, not make any mistakes here, and potentially put himself up and into victory lane. here today, man. Doesn't have to really race anyone hard, can kind of just be on cruise control, has a big enough lead that he doesn't have to stress about anything, doesn't have to stress about that 34 ride catching him, as you don't even see the 34. He's just coming into this straightaway here. That's the race lead that he's got right now between himself and that 34. Fisher already through that corner. Here comes that 34 ride of Aiden Lucas, slowly but surely tracking him down, but with this being the last lap, definitely not going to be enough time to hunt down this 34 ride, as or the 19 ride, as the 34 back in second, and he can close the gap here as much as he wants. There's only a few more corners left here for the 19 ride of Jordan Fisher. Fisher just has to hit them right, not make any mistakes, not take himself out of this race, as the 19 down through the penultimate corner of this racetrack, down into our final corner of the day. Nice and easy exit that corner and heads back down the front straightaway here to the checkered flag, as Jordan Fisher will pick up the win here at the Chicago Street Course in the Wheel to Wheel Racing League, as the number 19 will pick up his second win of the season, the Fear the Fish ride. It was definitely a fearful day for Matthew Wood, as it was so scary. He was shaking in his boots and made the only problem that he had to avoid here late in that race, and that was taking himself out of it, smashing into a wall, busting that left front. Unfortunately, parked down pit side with a DNF back in the 10th position, and giving this race win virtually over to the 19 ride. Fisher may still have gained a ran for his money there late in this race, but Fisher didn't really have to battle for it in those closing laps, as Matthew Wood took himself out of this one, and Fisher able to put himself up and into victory lane, as Wyatt Mickelson and the 00 ride. Looks like some issues here for Michael Durham Jr., and that's going to move Wyatt Mickelson potentially now into third. Maybe it won't. Maybe Stewart will steal it. Stewart will steal it away from Mickelson. So Evan Stewart here in the final couple corners able to jump up and steal position number 3 away from Wyatt Mickelson and Michael Durham Jr. as these two battling back here. Let's take a look back at it. So Wyatt's back here in position number 4, trying to get position number 3 away from that 00. Durham already has a little bit of damage on his race car, and then he just slams it into the fence right there, and Wyatt follows him right into it here. Oh, man. This is where that heavy damage comes for both of these drivers. Look out, meow, as the 00 sends it in there too deep, and all of a sudden, Wyatt Mickelson gets in there as well. As watch this 00 in there too deep. Doesn't make the corner. Smashes into the wall. Wyatt slides in there to him as well. And both end up with some very, very heavy damage. And that opens up the door for Evan Stewart here late in this race to jump up. Look at this 51 machine. Whole front end absolutely just tore apart on this car. I don't know how he even made it to the end here. Banks it off another fence here. Just got to kind of play bumper cars here the last few corners of this race just to try to get himself to the finish line. Same with that 00 ride of Michael Durham Jr. Michael trying to keep pace. Obviously heavy black smoke rolling out of this car. Engine issues there after that big hit, and he ends up chasing down the 51 ride, and then I don't know if he just blows it in here too far or Wyatt ends up making a mistake here nonetheless. Yeah, there you go. You see Wyatt into the fence, and then just, oh, there you go. The motor ends up expiring there for that 00 machine. In that penultimate corner on the exit there, blows that car up. It expires, and you see Wyatt into the fence again. Can't make this car to turn. Now, unfortunately, stuck in the fence. There goes Evan Stewart around him to steal position number 3. As Jordan Fisher gets it ready to burn down the house here in Chicago. Jordan Fisher picks up the dub here in Chicago Street Course in some crazy fashion here today, man. That was a heck of a show. A lot of fun here in this one, as Matthew, you're still our number 1, says Anna. James says, way to go, Fishman. Cheer on the Fishman here this evening, as Rodney Stewart says, I take a finish and a top 5. And even your improvement. Okay, I don't really know what you're saying there, but 100%. As Matthew Wood says, you have no clue what the hell happened. I looked at the replay. I braked at the same place, the same amount, and people hit the wall harder than me, and it didn't do half that damage. Yeah, that's a tough one right there for you, Matthew. That's a tough one, man. Hey, sometimes iRacing just decides kind of when it's going to jump out and bite you, and unfortunately, banking off that wall too many times, finally jumped up and bit you there, and unfortunately took you out of the contention for the win here in this one. They ruined this car, and after this season, I have no ambition to run this car again. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I don't even know what this car is, man. They have way too many different styles of these NASCAR Cup cars, man. There's way too many. There's way too many. They just need to stick with something and stick with it. They don't need to keep changing it year after year or every other fucking year, man. Just stick with one goddamn car and let these drivers drive them, man. Let the teams do stuff. Go back to like 2003, 2005. Let these guys work on the cars. Let them cheat them up. Let them do whatever they need to do. Let them have some fun with it. Let the actual manufacturers make a difference in what these cars can do and perform out there on the speedway, and not just these cookie cutter pieces of shit that they make nowadays for the NASCAR Cup Series, man. Looking like fucking dinky cars hooked up on battery acid, man. That's all they are, and that's what they want to be. Is they go all electric. That's the stupidest move that NASCAR could ever do. They already have problems under rain delays and everything else with cars having electrical issues and everything else, and now they want these cars to go fully electric and weigh 1,500 extra pounds, and all of a sudden, they get into a big wreck at Talladega or Daytona, they catch on fire. Guess what? Now they need to spend millions of dollars extra to have specialty fire equipment to be able to put these things out, or they'll just watch them burn to the ground on the racetrack like they normally do on the side of the interstates when a Tesla or any other car burns down to the ground there, man. EV is not the way to go. It is a fake dream. We'll run out of everything that we need long before they make EVs mandatory for everybody, and that's exactly what they're trying to do up here in Canada, man. Their whole big no electric or no gas vehicles 2030. They want to get rid of all gas vehicles by 2030. Well, they can come fight me on my own land for that one, because that ain't gonna happen. As all right, we'll get ready to jump in and pull our top three into it here as top three. Yes, good move right there for him. Absolutely great move there for that number 37 Evan Stewart to jump up and into position number 3 here this evening. So we'll get ready to pull the fish up here. Our race winner into the broadcast booth here for his post-race interview. As let's see if we can get him up here. There he is. There he is. Hey, Jordan, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Copy. Gotcha.
Jordan, man, what a run, what a race, man. Take us back through this one. Obviously, a hell of a battle there between you and Matthew Wood, back and forth. You would take the race lead away from him with a mistake, and then you would make a mistake, then he would make a mistake, and it was just back and forth there for a while between the two of you guys, duking it out here in this one. And then finally, he just got in there a little bit too far, got into that wall, and unfortunately took himself out of this race and gave you virtually a free win here this evening, and didn't really have to battle with him hard late in this race.
Yeah, I didn't really expect to get the win. After he had got past me, I was just kind of settled with P2 and kind of running behind him, whatever. It was so hard to pass and all that, but ultimately, I knew I had to at least still be there in case he made any mistakes. And of course, he had hit the wall there, and looks like the bumps into that corner kind of got the best of him, and I was able to take advantage of that. But this is probably one of the hardest tracks to run with this car in this series. So it was brutal. It was a workout alone, just doing myself, just driving laps, whatever, trying to be consistent with braking, because if you make one little mistake over the bumps, it can easily end your race. So I was just happy to keep it consistent out there.
Absolutely. Now, we did see him make a couple mistakes, slide that car around, get into the fence there, man. How close were you to potentially ending your night early there as well with those mistakes out on the racetrack? As you try to minimize those. Luckily enough, all the contact that you did receive didn't look like it affected that car too much there, and you were able to still hang there and battle with Matthew there late in this race until he wrecked himself.
Yeah, I think I got off the brakes a little bit too soon going into one of the final corners, and then that essentially just put my front left into the wall quite a bit. So I seen there was quite a bit of damage on my front left a little bit, but ultimately I was like, steering was fine, power is fine, the car still drove great. I was still able to do consistent times just to bring it home. So I was happy to at least get away with that. So yeah.
Absolutely not a lot of other drivers as lucky as you were here tonight to get away with too much out there on the speedway. Obviously, a lot of drivers ended with DNFs and had some tough races out there on the speedway, and you're able to keep them all back there behind you and pull yourself up and into the victory lane here at the Chicago Street Course, man. Great race, great run. Who would you like to thank for picking up this checkered flag here tonight?
Yeah, thank my sponsor Hardy Designs, as well as the HPR Racing Team, and of course AG Motorsports. Like I said, between Matthew and Aiden, obviously is running a very good pace. Who shout out to him? He started from the pits, and he was able to make his way up through the field very patiently. And Evan also had very good pace, so it's really happy to see we can continue to work together again faster and just family, friends. Yeah, it's just everybody out there. You, Aaron, great broadcast as always, and look forward to getting back out there again. I'm really thrilled how this 19 machine has been powering in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Having some great runs, some great performances, and now picking up your second win on the season, trying to help advance yourself there a little bit farther through the point standings here, giving you that little bit more of a comfort zone as our playoffs not too far away, about 6 races before the playoffs start here in the Wheel to Wheel Racing League. So a good run, a good finish, and some great points here to bank up for yourself here going forward in these tight point standings late in the season.
Thanks, everybody. Feel the fish.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Jordan Fisher, as Fisher picks up the dub here this evening and parks that number 19 right up and into the Chicago Street Course victory lane. As we'll get ready now to pull in our second place finisher, it is that number 34 ride, Aiden Lucas. Aiden comes home here in position number 3. Let's pull Aiden up and into the booth. Hey, Aiden, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad, Aiden. Pretty solid run for you here tonight, man. Obviously, we saw you start down from pit lane quickly there in that first stage. You race your way up into third, and then a tough pit stop there. You fall back into about the 7th spot. You battle back again for another third place run there in stage 2, and then here in this feature event, just kind of battling that car, battling some of these other drivers. We saw you run into a couple of issues, spin yourself sideways, and then battle back through some of these guys, and here you are late in the race, though, jumping up into second with obviously Matthew Wood ranking out of this race, and all you needed was for the 19 ride to run into an issue there late in the race as well, and you could have potentially found yourself up in victory lane, but you do hang on for a solid second place run here today, man. Take us back through this race and what's going through your mind now in this race.
Yeah, man, it was a tricky one. There was a lot of us. We were all having issues, slipping and sliding and braking. Braking was the biggest issue. The car did not like the bumps, so sometimes you just send it in, braking the same thing you did the lap before, and then you end up really deep in the wall. So that was always a challenge. Yeah, it seemed to get a little bit hotter in the third stage. I don't know if I'm making that up, but it seemed like the sun was out a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe heating up that racetrack, making it a little bit more slicker and tougher out there for you guys to be able to hang on to these race cars. And obviously, we saw that all night long, drivers having those issues, either sending it too far into the corner and making contact into the fence, or just getting back onto the throttle and spinning these things around. Definitely seemed like they were a handful here this evening in Chicago, but you're able to hang on to it for the most part and come home with a solid second place run here. Some solid points for yourself here, working towards the playoffs here this season in the Wheel to Wheel Racing League.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always important to capitalize on these runs where I can kind of get up there, maybe snag a podium, get up here and talk to you, Aaron. But yeah, no, looking forward to the summer stretch. The changes they made to the cars kind of made passing a little bit harder on the normal NASCAR track, so we'll see how that goes towards the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of changes to these race cars and definitely making them a little bit tougher to handle out there on the racetrack and then tougher to pass out there as well. So it'll be interesting to see how you guys will be able to make those changes and work on these cars and figure out a way to be competitive here week after week after week. But Aiden, another solid run, another great performance from you here tonight as you drive from virtually the doghouse almost up to the penthouse here this evening as you settle in for second here on the podium. Brother, who would you like to thank for another solid run and great performance out there on the racetrack?
Oh, first off, thank you for bringing the show to the people, and then thank you to Evan, Jaden, Matthew, and Grant keeping the show running.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping the show running, keeping you guys happy and healthy out there. Obviously, giving you guys a good place to race every Sunday night. And we can't wait to see you guys back in action next Sunday. As I'm not sure where we're headed to, but I know no matter what. Over. Okay, well, that's going to be a pretty interesting one here, especially with trying to make passes and everything else. It's going to be a fun racetrack to see how that kind of plays out here with these cars in the latest update.
Absolutely, a lot of slipping and sliding.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing it and look forward to seeing you potentially right back up here in the broadcast booth next Sunday night. Enjoy this second place finish tonight, Aiden, and hopefully we'll see you back up here in Victory Lane next week.
Absolutely, buddy. Thank you.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Aiden Lucas. Aiden comes home there in position number 2 this afternoon. A solid run, a solid drive there for him as now we're getting ready to pull in our third place finisher. It was Evan Stewart. Stewart comes home in position number 3 just there on that final lap, able to battle back. Obviously, we saw the 00 Michael Durham Jr. Wyatt Mickelson wreck themselves, and all of a sudden Evan's able to run up around them and steal that third spot away. Let's pull Evan up here into the booth. Hey, Evan, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Not too bad, Evan, man. What a run. What a race, man. This was a pretty exciting one. Obviously, a lot of issues, a lot of problems out there for drivers all around the track, including yourself here. And then late in this one, obviously, you had a couple good stages, a couple good runs. You were battling up there inside the top 5 all evening long. And then you run into some problems late in this race. You're sliding backwards. And then all of a sudden, you see Wyatt Mickelson and Michael Durham Jr. run into some problems there. You're slowly but surely hunting them down as they continue to run into problems for virtually half this track, and all of a sudden, just there before the line, able to jump up and steal this third spot away from Wyatt Mickelson to round out our podium here today at Chicago. Man, take us back through this race and what's got to go through your mind now after a crazy finish and a crazy race here today.
The race this is by far like one of my favorite road courses. It didn't look like it because I wrecked, but I don't know. People say that the car's changed, and I think it has. It feels weird sometimes when you're braking at your same breakup point. It just feels like the brakes aren't there, but at the same time, that could also just be a skill issue on all of our end, But the race was fun. The spinning was not a part of the plan, but thank you to Michael and Wyatt to dying to give me the opportunity of getting P3 back. I was up there battling Lucas for a little bit. That was fun. Crumbled under that pressure, but thankful that a couple people couldn't make it to the end to work out and get our first P3.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget to thank Matthew Wood as well as wrecking himself, crashing himself out from the race lead, giving obviously Jordan Fisher the win, but another position for yourself to move up here onto the podium. But definitely some craziness there late in the race. Did you know that was happening out there on the racetrack, or was that more of a surprise to you as you kind of exit that penultimate corner here on the speedway and you see the 00 up in smoke and virtually coming to a stop there before that final corner? And then obviously you see Wyatt drive it into the corner and not be able to turn his car and up into the fence there. Did you know that was happening? Did you know that this was a possibility that you were going to jump up into third, or were you just kind of settled in there for about a 5th place run?
Kind of just hanging out for 5th place because I kind of ruined my steering, so I was just trying to make it to the end. And then I came around turn 6 and saw that Michael's car was smoking, so I was like, okay, that's another free spot. And then as we got around to the second to the final corner, I saw Wyatt and both Michael next to each other, and I heard Michael's car explode. So I was like, cool. That's 4th. And then I watched Wyatt drive off into the corner, and he didn't turn right at all. And I was like, oh, his steering's broke. And I saw his wheel bouncing up and down. And I was like, okay, I think I can get 3rd place. So I kind of just tried to keep the car straight so I could get the power down and take 3rd place away from him.
Absolutely, and you were able to do that and steal that 3rd spot away from Mickelson and Michael Durham Jr. here this evening. And man, that was a lot of fun. Looked like it was a blast out there. Obviously, drivers complain about how these cars are a little bit more evil now out there on the racetrack, but I think it created for some great viewing aspect. Obviously, a lot of great racing, great battles out there, and a lot of fun. Looked like for you guys to, just trying to not only battle yourselves in the competition, but also battle these race cars here tonight as well.
No, it's for sure a fun challenge. We may complain, but we line up every Sunday night to do this, so it can't be that bad, right?
Absolutely, definitely a lot of worse things you can do here on a Sunday night than be out there on the racetrack battling and having some fun with the buddies here in the Wheel to Wheel Racing League. But Evan, solid run, great performance for yourself, man. Who would you like to thank for such a great performance here this afternoon?
Talk a lot about this to a lot of people, but to my friends that support me, I would like to thank them, and to my uncle Rodney that's always in your chat when I race. He's also a big supporter of this, and I can't thank him enough. He's always tuning in and cheering me on and trying to give me tips of what he sees over on the broadcast. And so and really really much thank you to you for being dedicated and doing this every Sunday night. I know some nights are more bearable and some nights aren't, just depending on the cautions, but I really do appreciate your work.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. The cautions aren't too bad. I don't mind a few cautions every race, but there's some races, man, I've seen some bad ones, brother, and there's some tracks that I hate going to, and I know it's sometimes a bad day at the office when you can see, a good race go bad with, a handful or a couple handfuls of caution flags and some of those yellows at certain racetracks, man. They just seem like they take forever.
Yeah, no, I get that. Trust me. But once again, thank you so much, and I hope you have a good night, buddy.
Yes, you as well, my dude, and absolutely no problem, man. Trust me, don't worry, man. I've been there with the yellows. Don't ever feel bad if we have, 10, 15 caution flags, man. I've done 150 lap races at Martinsville and had like 30 caution flags in that race, so I've been at the worst, man. I've done the worst, trust me. Yeah, I think the worst was it was like a 200 lap truck race at Martinsville, and there was literally like 29 caution flags. I think we did we did like 40 laps of green flag racing.
You are a saint, man. I would have had to cut the broadcast off and take a nap or something.
Oh, brother, trust me, I felt like eating a bullet there, but we kept her going, man. We kept her going. I don't know how, but we battled through it, man. So I've been to the worst, and trust me, it take a lot to be able to beat that.
Yes, sir.
Beauty. Evan, enjoy the rest of your night, man, and congrats again on the third place run. Hopefully next week at Dover we'll see you jump up here and join us in the booth again, maybe a couple spots better, or maybe up in Victory Lane.
Yes, sir. We're starting to put the pieces together. Hopefully I can stop being my worst enemy and finally get into Victory Lane for once.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we can't wait to see it, and hopefully you build off this momentum tonight. Put yourself right up there.
Thank you. Have a good one, buddy.
You too. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher here this evening. It's Wyatt Mickelson. Wyatt coming home there in position number 3 here this evening, man. That was a lot of fun. That was some good racing. As Rodney says, watch footage, brakes was getting hot. They were all getting hot out there, man. I think they were hot right at the get-go. I'm not going to lie. I think we were, lap like 2 or 3. I noticed that they were starting to get a little bit golden brown. Looked like they were looking like they were racing at Martinsville, man. Those things were glowing red hot coals out there on those race cars. So those things were definitely hot. They were definitely using up the brakes here this evening. A lot of hard work putting into these race cars, race after race after race, man. Another great performance, another great feature event here by the Wheel to Wheel Racing League. We can't thank all these drivers enough for showing up, putting on a great race. I know there's a lot of drivers at C road courses, and they just trying to stay away from them. They don't like running them. They don't like racing them for the fact of kind of what we saw here tonight for a lot of drivers is that they tend to not do very good. They get racked out, and then, they don't get good points or anything anyway, so what's the point of, showing up? But for everyone that did show up, even if you only turned, a handful of laps or two here this evening, we appreciate you for still showing up, trying putting on a good show for us and giving us some excitement out there on the racetrack, man. We can't thank you guys enough for doing this and being a part of the series. So huge shout out to all the drivers that showed up and raced here this evening, and huge shout out to all the fans in the stands that showed up and tuned in and watched this amazing race here this evening. I can't thank you guys enough for, you know, show the love and support all evening long. And if you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor, man. Hit the like button on the stream, hit that thumbs up button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button, and can't wait to see you guys back up here in the broadcast booth tomorrow night, man. We head back to the Truck Series for the our Monday night, the Metalheads Truck Series tomorrow evening, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Going to be another great show, and we can't wait to see you guys back up here in the grandstands cheering those drivers on, man. It's going to be another great race, another great performance for us to watch and enjoy here as Brandon Remy coming in, dropping that like on the stream over there. How are you, Brandon? Brandon says, hey, how are you tonight? Do you know how to start a shooting at... All right, well, I don't know who this guy is, but let me take a look at him here. Yeah, that definitely looks like a person like that. That's for certain. All right. Okay, this person can definitely get fucked. Let me see here. Go with that one. Goodbye, dipshit. Alright, well, that person is absolutely yeeted and deleted. Brandon Remy. Get gone, bot. Get gone, bot. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Everyone coming in, showing the love and support here all evening long. We thank you guys for showing up and showing out here today, and we can't wait to see you guys back out here for another broadcast tomorrow night, man. Gonna be a lot of fun, gonna be a lot of great action here, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the grandstands cheering on our drivers tomorrow evening. But thank you all for watching, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all later. Peace and love, baby. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Woo!
Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, pacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy.